What if I told you one trader trading just one pair turned years of losses into consistent five-figure months? That in just 8 months he earned the trust of investors from around the world, backed by a regulated platform, and joined the elite top 3% of traders on Darwinex Zero. His name? Colin Lim, a Malaysian trader who locked himself away for 3 months and came back transformed. Profitable, relentless, unstoppable. From zero capital to 115,000 euros in Darwinia allocations and over $33,000 in real investor funds. No flashy marketing, no gimmicks, just results. Tracked, verified, unignorable. This is more than just another trading interview. It's the story of focus, of obsession, of a comeback that defied every odd. This is Colin Lim, and this is how real traders are built.
Data is the #1 priority. If you don't have data, how are you going to be confident in executing your trades? I want to lose quickly and then I focus on the next trade, or I focus on the next day. If you purely want to make money, then Darwinex is not the platform for you. But if you want to have a verifiable track record, hone your edge, look at the metrics, have some insights, then you can look at Darwinex. Set maybe a limit of how much you're willing to lose, and if that limit is reached, just step away from the charts. There's always tomorrow. Play it within your edge. Don't trust anyone without a public track record. You know you're being greedy. You know you want the shortcut to success. You don't want to accept that, and all you think about is, hey, let me pay this guy money so that I can get there faster. But it's not going to happen. Yeah, we're in trading to make money, but there's other important things rather than making money.
Today, I'm very excited to welcome Colin. He's my first interview. We've just been catching up. He's in my Telegram group. He's just reached gold status on Darwinex. So he started with Darwinex Zero. He's now progressed to Darwinex Gold. So I had to get him on. He's making waves on YouTube as well with his channel in the prop world. And he just gained his first investor on Darwinex. So I had to get him on. He's done amazing things in the last few years. So yeah, welcome to the Eurotrader channel. Absolute pleasure to have you on, Colin.
Okay, Ryan, thanks for the intro. Yeah, I've been in the community, not necessarily trading same style as Raihan, but yeah, the reason why I'm in the community is because he gets traders with the same mindset that wants to take it professional, wants to take it serious. And yeah, just being in a community where other people are like that as well, it's a great benefit to everyone. So another thing about Raihan is that he trades EU, same as me. I'm only an EU trader. So
I think you've overtaken me, man. You're the Euro USD king now. So yeah, actually, how did you discover me and my group? Was you following me on Twitter, and how long have you been in the Telegram group?
Yeah, I think so when I was getting into the prop scene, which was not long ago actually, I think everyone was kind of making waves on Twitter, whether they are influencers or whatnot. But yeah, there was a few traders that stuck out to me that really had to really knew how to back up what they said, and what they posted and everything. So I found you, I think, just purely by algorithm.
Okay.
And yeah, I was interested in what you had to say about the markets, your outlook, your perspective on trading and everything. So I found it quite genuine.
Yeah.
And then only later down the line where I started with props and everything, I was like, oh, I think it would be cool to see what Raihan's doing in terms of his community, what he's pushing out. And then I also found out that, oh, he has a Darwinex section. And I think at that point in time, I knew it was something that I had to diversify with, because props, as you know, had a rough patch with the MT5 thing. Everyone was losing their license, and I was like, damn, I need to diversify quickly, because if I purely rely on props, then if the whole thing fails, then it's just a bubble that's about to burst, right?
Yeah. So was that 2023 then, would you say?
Yeah, or maybe early 2024 or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was like when I think TFT and SFT blew up, and my
It was
account
bad,
went.
man. It was bad.
All right then. So first question, if you give us a brief introduction into your trading background and why you started trading.
Yeah, so I actually started trading around 3 to 4 years ago, but it wasn't serious at all. I wasn't actually in the forex space. So I wasn't trading CFDs. I was actually mainly trading crypto. But the younger self, I was just chasing money, profits. I didn't really have any trading strategy, no risk management, and it was purely emotional gambling. So
Sound like me when I started.
yeah, so 3, 4 years back then, and it was totally unprofitable. I made no profits from trading like that. I actually quit trading took a step back, and that's when in 2023, the beginning of 2023, I thought, yeah, this is not working out for me. I need to, get a job. So
Okay.
entered the corporate world, and I was working for a crypto exchange because I was familiar with the crypto and everything.
Yeah.
But a colleague in my department told me about what prop trading was, and I was like, wow, why have I not known about this? Because, it seemed like a really good opportunity. So while I was at work, I was learning how to trade, bought some prop accounts, followed signals, which I'll get into shortly. I think longevity wise, it's not really the best to follow signals, but
Mm.
I did it anyways because I wanted to, get back into learning the
Yeah.
framework and everything. But in the end, I ditched following signals and created my own strategy on Euro USD. And
Yeah.
this is where I'm
So,
at.
so when you were losing money initially, was you trading CFDs, did you say?
Yeah,
Sorry,
so
which assets were you
crypto.
trading?
Yeah, I was trading crypto mainly when I was losing. Yeah.
Okay. And that was what, around 2020, 2021?
Yeah, around that, around like I think COVID hit as well. So
Yeah.
around that time, I was involved in crypto and NFTs and everything.
Okay.
But overall, trading crypto or with no risk management strategy and good trading psychology, I probably lost money. Yeah.
Okay. So then you decided to take things seriously because you were fed up of losing money. So you were losing your own money on your own brokerage account, right?
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
How much would you say you lost, roughly?
I think maximum like
Thousands, tens of
yeah,
thousands?
yeah, 10K at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you were just self-taught. That's why you didn't know what you were doing.
Yeah, I think, transitioning into where I'm at right now, when I was following people's signals, I had the mindset of, well, if someone's a profitable trader and he sells signals, all I need to do is just follow signals and I'll become profitable as well.
Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of people's mindset is right now when they are buying signals from traders. But that's not the formula to success, right?
Yeah.
Because if the trader wins or is profitable, then you win. But if they lose and then you lose as well, your success is predominantly based on other people, but not yourself.
Yeah, and you
So
never know what they're thinking. Yeah, I mean, there's so much behind it. If you follow a signal, it's like, what's that saying? Give a man a fish, feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, you feed him for life, right?
yeah, so what happened was the trader that I was following hit a really bad losing streak. And paired with my poor risk management, I actually blew all my prop accounts. And I think that was the turning point of when I said, hey, I think I need to take things in my own hands now. I need to be responsible for my own actions. And that's where I literally almost locked myself in my room for the next 3 months, and I back tested like crazy. I tested a lot of currency pairs, so GU, gold, silver, whatever you want. I wanted to test on, but I ended up having the most consistent data and profit on EU, and that's how I stuck with EU.
Why would you say that is? Is it the most technical pair? Because I always say Euro USD is the most technical currency pair you can trade. It may not be the most volatile, but it's the most technical.
Yeah, it's definitely not the most volatile pair. There are faster pairs out there compared to EU, but I don't know. I just when I created my trading plan, risk management style, and finding the edge in the market across testing the various pairs, just EU just gave me the best result.
Yeah.
So that's
So it was
just how
just
I
a journey
stuck
of
with you.
self-discovery when you locked yourself away for 3 months. You literally
Yeah,
just, like,
yeah.
that's crazy. Yeah.
Woke up, ate some food, back tested, ate more food for dinner, back tested until I think 3 a.m. and I did that every day.
And do you still, so based off of what you learned in those 3 months, because that's a very short period of time, are you still trading the same way today, or have you refined since and evolved the edge?
I've refined it a bit because as I trade with props and let's say with Darwinex, I noticed a little bit of a pattern that kept happening throughout my trades. So I still journal, by the way. I journal every trade that I take,
Good.
and as soon as I recognize something that I can negate, maybe I could reduce drawdown, or maybe I could have a better entry criteria, then I would involve it in. But currently, right now, I do not backtest. I stop backtesting because I think when you reach to a point where you know your edge and you know your trading plan clear cut, like there's no reason to backtest anymore because the most
You're just
boring
going to
part is that
complicate things.
you just need to show up every day, execute, and that's it.
Yeah.
You don't need to constantly change a lot of stuff.
So Interesting. You just mentioned like minimizing drawdown.
Yeah.
So how did you sort of identify that and like what are your steps to approach minimizing drawdown? Is it like a method, is it based on numbers or structure on the charts? Can you give a bit of detail into that?
Yeah, so I'm predominantly an intraday trader, so I trade almost every day. So when I journal my trades and I look at the data, I look at what are my best days, what are my worst days, which session is the best for me. Is it the London session? Is it the New York session? And yeah, I look at timings, I look at sessions, and then I also take a look at whether heavy impact news is occurring on that day. So when you journal and you collect data as a trader, it's your job to understand whether trading on such days would actually incur losses or is there a pattern to it. So I've took all the data, I've labeled which day is high impact, which day is not, which sessions am I is my trade executing in, the time that it executes, how long am I in the trade. All this data you need to collect because if you don't put in the work to define your edge, to have a clear edge, then how are you going to beat the market, right? So the
Exactly.
market moves trillions, maybe billions and trillions of volumes in a day, and it's our job as a trader to just have a small piece of it. We don't need
Mm.
everything. We just need some sort of piece of that whole volume to define our edge.
So would you say so it sounds like you're scalping and your trades are quite short.
So I wouldn't consider myself like a hyper scalper. So, scalping sometimes takes seconds to minutes. So
Mm.
with how EU moves, I
Yeah,
can't
you
do
have
that,
to
right?
stay in the
Exactly, exactly.
yeah.
So I think in essence, yes, I'm scalping, but it's not to where like I hit TP in 10 minutes or I hit TP in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Um, I think my average trade duration, it could take 30 minutes to maybe a few hours, give or take.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how many confirmed entries do you get on average per week or per month?
Per week, it depends. It can be 4 to 8. Yeah,
Yeah.
4 to 8 entries. It really depends, but a rough estimation, it's around there.
And what time frame are you trading?
I'm I use multiple, so I use the 30 minute, the 15 minute, the 5 and the 1. So 30 and the 15 minute is to just look at the general entry. I basically want to see what price is telling me on those time frames, and then the lower time frame for the entry. So 5 minute and a 1 minute. If I see price signaling my confirmation of my setup, and then I'll take it on the lower time frame.
So what would a confirmation look like for you? Are you a price action trader? Do you use any
Purely
indicators
price
or?
action.
Okay.
Purely price action trader. I have no indicators on my chart, so my chart is super clean.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, essentially, I always have this formula in my head, right? When I trade, if price does XYZ, you take the trade. It's up to you as a trader to find out what your confluences are, what's your
Mm.
criteria. Not everybody has the same criteria, of course. So just because Raihan or myself is trading EU, that doesn't mean you need to trade EU. You need, as Raihan mentioned, self-discovery, right? You need to go on that journey and you need to find out what best suits you. Raihan's personality or his trading style is tailored to him, and my trading style or my strategy is tailored to me. So you need to find out what's tailored to you, what suits you best.
Exactly. No, well put, well answered. There's many ways to skin a cat. Yeah, so I think we covered the second question because you became profitable very quickly after taking things seriously. What would you attribute this to? Like, what's your number one piece of advice to someone who is struggling to find profitability?
For me, I think it's data.
Yeah.
Because if you ask majority of the traders now, hey, do you journal? Or how much data do you have on your strategy, on what you're trading? And I think there'll be two answers: no data or very minimal data.
Yeah.
And if you have a journal and it's like 30 trades, that's nothing. Like that's too small. You need a large enough sample size because you need to know that you need to know that you have an edge over the long run. It's not about 5, 10 trades. It's about in a year, 2 years time, whether you have an edge, right? So data is the number one priority. If you don't have
Yeah.
data, how are you going to be confident in executing your edge, your trades?
Yeah.
Yeah, you need data to back it up.
Yeah, no, I'm exactly the same. I try and keep on top of my journal every weekend because I'm trading the 4 hour chart. I don't need to journal every day because I'm in trades even longer than you a lot of the time. So yeah, I always preach you have to journal, you have to track. Journal both the data and structures because I trade price action like yourself. So if you don't know your data, as soon as you hit a losing streak, you're going to try and switch strategy. But
Yep.
a lot of people, they don't understand the law of large numbers and probabilistic thinking. I know it sounds cliche to say, but me and you, like we're both saying the same thing about how important journaling is, because I speak to so many people that they just ask questions like, "What's the optimal number of trades per week? Is five good?" I'm like, it could be five, it could be 20. If according to your edge, which is back tested over hundreds of trades or at least 4 to 5 years, if you're trading a larger time frame, if you see that that gives you positive expected return over a large series of trades, then it works. Even if you have a 60, 70% win rate, you're still going to have times where you go on a 5, 6, 7 trade losing streak. Is possible. But there's a lot of people, they want high win rate and they want to try and get high RRs. But in reality, that's not how trading works. If you can have even 30, like 40, 45% win rate and get 1 to 2 RR, I think that's amazing. But people just, I think they want too much. And it probably feeds into the fact that there's a lot of course sellers online and online gurus that are showing this dream unobtainable, unachievable results. And if we bring that back to Darwin X, I think Darwin X proves like what's realistic, and I think that's why like I love Darwin X because it shows the real side of trading. Just through attending Darwinex community meetups, I've been able to meet like real traders, and these are like humble, down to earth guys. They're not trying to sell you a dream or flashing a Lamborghini. They've put in the work. They work their asses off. Like I've been locked away since December. Every year I do a massive journal review at the end of every year, and I try and find one thing I can improve. And it may work for a few months, and then it may like go tits up. Like I've had a bad patch recently, but I know I can work my way out of drawdown because I've got the data and the stats to back it up, and that's what matters. Like I'm not going to flip or switch strategy because of that. And I think Darwin X helps with that accountability. But also, I was going to ask you, so you say like you do your own journaling and you know like what sessions to trade, what not to trade, what your best days are, etc., etc. On the Darwin X dashboard, you get all of that data. Do you look at your metrics on there to help you with that same data as well?
Yeah, actually, before Darwinex highlighted what my best session is and everything, I already had that data. But
Yeah,
it just goes to shows that when you see the matching data on Darwinex, then it just gives a little bit more validation that, I'm looking at the right stuff.
yeah,
Yeah. Look, I think at this modern age, like what you said, I think people want things too quickly. They turn to trading and want to become an overnight success, but that's not it, right? Trading is not a get rich quick scheme. It takes years of hard work. I mean, yes, granted, my story, a few years of unprofitable trading, locked myself for a few months, and then I found an edge. But sometimes it takes people years to even become profitable.
mm,
And then towards the core sellers or whatever, I think education can be done right. Not every core seller has bad intentions to their community members, but it's just when they are making more money selling courses than they're trading. And also, if a course seller can't back up their trading with a verifiable track record, then they're just purely a course seller.
yeah,
So yeah, education can be done right, but when you're selling a dream and people are just greedy. They just want the lifestyle. They want the Rolex watch. They want the Lamborghini. They want the yacht parties. Yeah, you're greedy and you don't want to work hard for it, and you fall into the trap and you're giving them money. So that's
yeah.
all there is to it.
I think the proliferation of the prop firm or on simulated prop firm industry has a lot to do with that though, because I think with prop firms, because the barrier of entry is so low, and you can actually get rich quick whilst being a mediocre trader, I would say. I mean, look, the stats are still very few people, percentage wise, make it to their payout, like pass the challenge and get to a payout. I think it's way under 1%, isn't it? I'm not sure of the current stats, but it's very low. But even then, like not necessarily all of those traders could build a track record. Like if you were to follow their track record, they may be break even or a losing trader, but on props, you can look like the world's best trader because they've gamified it, haven't they? So, I mean, I always say, look, if you have to do everything, do Darwinex, build a track record, trade props like yourself, which we'll go into later. Um, and you can trade them the same way or you can trade them different. It depends. But I think as long as you're making more money on props, then obviously you're spending on challenges, you're doing okay. But most people aren't. And a lot of these course sellers, they're blowing so many challenges and just going for that one big hit trade and then showing like, oh, I made 50K or I had a 100K day, 70K day. And I think it's really misleading. And a lot of people have FOMO because of it. And but what they're not seeing, and I talk to a lot of these traders and they tell me they're blowing accounts. They're not showing the challenges they've blown. Everyone blows
Yeah.
challenges. I blow challenges. When I started, I didn't blow a challenge for the first maybe 3, 4 months. But then as you trade them for longer, you're going to hit a bad patch and you're going to blow a challenge because if you want to make good money and not blow the max 8 to 10% drawdown, you're going to blow challenges. So it's about finding like that balance, isn't it? Because I think you're probably holding an account for a long time because you're trading, you're going for smaller payouts and you want consistency and you want to hit those scaling programs. But then I think there's the other approach where people are going for the biggest payouts they can get so that they can then sell a course.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference there. Like people can't tell what's real and what's not. And when you see these big payouts, it doesn't look as sexy seeing the guy with the track record who's got the smaller, consistent payouts. Only the real traders who know what they're talking about and who know what's real are going to appreciate that. And
Yeah. So,
the majority of people are going to follow the people with the big payouts and the Lamborghinis and all of this nonsense. So I think it's up to us to help educate. And again, I think that's why I love Darwinex so much because you can't bullshit on Darwinex. It's a
yeah,
level playing
100%.
field.
Yeah, it's, I mean, as long as you publicize your ticker on Darwinex, put a face to your profile, then yes. But people, I mean, real traders, they don't have an issue with that. Like all these course sellers that they're selling courses, they're making more money selling courses than trading. They don't want to be on Darwinex
No, I
because as
mean, I've put so many traders on Darwinex, and I think 99% of them aren't on it anymore. They've stopped. So what
yeah,
does that tell you? And they're all the ones that are selling a course. They
yeah,
don't want to be
exactly.
transparent
Yeah.
because then they won't be able to sell courses anymore. It's really sad. It is sad to see. But again, Darwinex is gaining popularity. They have more traders than they've ever had. So it's only a good thing, right? For
Yep,
the
definitely.
direction of the industry. Okay, so your number one piece of advice would be to just lock yourself away and learn your edge and backtest and journal
Yeah, data's your best friend. So
data.
if yeah, data's your best friend. If it backs up what you're trying to do on the charts and to extract profits out of the market, you need that support, right? That's where you can confidently execute your trades. Yeah.
Can you give me an example of like your edge? Like, give me one example of what a confirmed trade would look like for you.
Yeah, so I mainly look at breakouts. So that's why I heavily rely on price action. There's a time where I look for a breakout, and as soon as I see a confirmed breakout, I'm basically looking at the retest of the range, and then I just take the trade. So that's why I do not have any indicators on my chart. I look at the price, right? Price tells me something, and then I execute a trade. So like I said, I look at 30 minutes, 15 minutes, but then I scale it down to the lower time frames because I just want to get a more accurate entry. I feel that on lower time frames you can just, even though it's more chaotic, but if you really zoom in a little bit, and if your age allows you to do so, then I could just find a little bit more better entry on the lower time frames. Yeah, and then I'll just execute a trade. So yeah, just whatever price is telling me on that day, I
Yeah.
look for a breakout, retest of that, and then just go for it.
So break off support or resistance, retest, and then you'd
Yeah,
enter. What sort
yeah.
of RRs are you looking at, and how big are your like? Where would you place your invalidation?
So I trade fixed RRs. Sorry, I trade a fixed stop loss, and my RRs are always fixed. So I
Okay.
don't necessarily rely on price structure. Yeah, I candle structure or anything to place my stops. If you look transparently on like if I place a trade and I show my MetaTrader profit, or if you look on Darwinex or whatever, I target a risk to reward of 2. It's fixed. It's always 2 RR,
Yeah.
and averagely my stop loss is 10 pips.
Yeah, I noticed when I was looking at one of the, we'll go into it when we go on the strategy metrics on your Darwin X. I remember like when you lose, your red bars are always the same, and when you
Yep.
win, your grid, so it's very nice symmetrical. You know
Yeah.
exactly what you're making and what you're losing every time because you're using the fixed stop loss and fixed RR. And I think that really probably helps eliminate a lot of unknowns when it comes to journaling and data collection. And I think
Yep.
that's probably a big reason why you've become successful a lot quicker than most people because there's less variables to look at. Because if you're having fixed stop loss, fixed RR, that there's less sort of information to analyze. And I think that's a massive help to you as well.
Yeah, I think the fixed R system, if you're a trader that's struggling with over managing your trades, like, oh, if price goes this amount of pips, let's put stop loss to break even. And if you get too touchy with it, then you might actually kind of destroy the edge, right? If
Mm,
I know the data, if I keep putting stop loss to break even after a certain amount of time, most of the time I'll get tapped out and then it will go into my direction. I don't put SL to B not because I'm scared of that. It's just because that the data backs it up.
yeah,
So if you're a trader that's over managing, you're touching your position too much and you're doing all these sort of things, then just try to maybe look at a fixed R system. It may help you like with your trading psychology. I basically what I do is see my confirmation, enter the trade, and I do not touch it at all. That's why on my Darwin, if you see the black bars, it's always at the top or at the bottom. That means
yeah,
I do not touch
exactly.
the trade at all. Yeah.
No, exactly. Yeah, we'll go into that as well. So simplification is king, um, for sure. Okay. So yeah, so it's a purely mechanical approach. Do you ever, so you never, yeah, obviously you never use any discretion based on what you've told me.
Purely rules. I think at least 95% is rules based. And
Yeah.
then the other small percentage is just really my personal kind of way of fine-tuning the edge. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I would say I'm the same as well. After a certain number of years in the market, have that intuitive edge as well, like a little bit of discretion, but you want to make it as mechanical and rules based as possible. So you started trading personal capital first and then props. You don't have a job, so you're full time now.
Yeah.
So how was you actually able to give up the corporate job then? Is it because you were profitable trading your personal capital?
No.
Okay.
So what I did was before I left the job, I made sure to save up 12 months of expenses.
Okay.
So when I because leaving a job means leaving a consistent income coming into your bank account every end of the month. And that's pressure, right? So if I saved up 12 months of expenses, I know that I do not need to worry about what I'm going to eat next week and any bills that I have to pay, any emergency funds or whatever. I know that for the next 12 months it's all paid for and I can solely focus on trading. And just to note, guys, out of the 12 months of expenses that I had, I used up 8 months and I still wasn't profitable. So I only had a few months left until I ran out of my saved up
Yeah.
funds and I had to get myself a job again. But luckily, well, not I mean not based on luck,
Is that
but
when you locked yourself away?
um, I was already locking myself away. So
Okay.
so because when I locked myself away and I was back testing a lot, I still didn't apply the edge to prop firms yet because I was still in that process, right? And then I think it was August. I think it was August. Yeah, it was August, and then I had my first payout. And that's when everything was validated. All the amount of hard work that I put in was all worth it. And it's because I know that if I got that one payout, I can get more.
Yeah. Who
So
was that payout with and how much
that
was it
payout
for?
was with ACG, Alpha Capital.
Yeah. Was it a big
Yeah.
one?
It wasn't actually. If you can see, it's just 1.5 thousand, and I framed up. I framed up this
That first
certificate.
payout always means a lot. You never forget it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
The first payout validates all the hard work that I put in. And like I said, if I can get one, I can get more. So
exactly.
yeah.
And then it's just a matter of scaling as well. 'Cause I know you
Yep.
use Traders Connect, don't you? Because I think you just released a YouTube video on it.
Yeah, I do. I
Um,
do.
okay. So in terms of your journaling, like what does your journal look like? What, are you using any software program? Is it manual? Are you like what are you using?
Just purely Google Sheets.
Okay.
Yeah, Google Sheets. The main data that I track on my journal is obviously losing streaks and winning streaks. So what's my biggest? What's my
Yeah.
yeah, the biggest winning streak, biggest losing streak. Obviously, I want to know some sort of win rate. So calculate the win rate. And then sessions, times, duration of while I'm in the trade. But yeah, I think it doesn't have to be super complex. It just has to be a sufficient amount of data where you would recognize a pattern in something. So, of course, more specifics. If you have more data, sorry, more things to record in your journal, then yeah, you might look at it as, hey, this is quite specialized, this is quite specific, but you also want to not overdo it because then I don't know,
You
you'll
can get
get
lost in the data very
yeah,
easily.
yeah. You can get information overload. You're looking at too many things and it's just really hard to decipher, right?
Yeah, your
So
brain will get fried and then you'll give up, you'll go
exactly.
crazy. It's happened to me a
Yeah.
few
So
times.
so my journal is quite personal, quite basic. Nothing too fancy, just on Google Sheets, not using any software.
Yeah, I like what you said about the max losing streak. I think not enough people know their max losing streak.
Yeah,
If you know your max losing streak, you will know how much to risk. You'll
exactly.
know your position sizing, etc., what to risk on a prop account or your personal account. Because let's say your max losing streak is 7 trades. So if you know on a prop account you have a 10% max loss, you know, okay, you can't risk 2% a trade because if you have your max losing streak, you're going to lose 14% and blow the account. So,
Exactly.
but
Yeah.
like I said, he's finding that balance between, are you prepared to blow accounts or do you want to keep a proper account long term? And then you're going to have to adjust that because you only get one chance on your own personal account, you know?
Yep.
So that's really important. So I think that's a massive reason why people need to track as well. So they can get the numbers, like you say, the headline stats, win rate, max losing streak, and maybe average RR as well.
Yep.
And then just with those three numbers alone, you can formulate a plan. You'll have much more than what most people have. But yeah, I've put a link below because I have a free journal download that people can track for that they can use to track their data for that as well. So just click that link in the description. So you've done really well on props. I've been seeing you've been releasing YouTube video after YouTube video. I think you're max funded with FTMO.
Yes. Max funded with FTMO.
Yeah, who
Max
else?
funded with funded next. Max
Okay.
funded with ACG per strategy. So that's
So that's a
300K.
million already.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Any more? Anyone else?
I'm with Pit Farm, not max funded. I'm also with let me just check. Oh, wait, who else? Quantacle did me dirty, man. Yeah,
I know we
yeah,
were
I'm
speaking
sorry.
on Telegram, weren't we? I think
Yeah, I
well,
mean,
Fintuki have messed us both around.
yeah, messed
Fintuki
us
messed
up as
you
well,
around, didn't
but
they?
yeah. As you know, Raihan, when you get funded with the reputable firms and you want to go for more funding, it gets kind of sketchy already, So yeah, I like currently I'm funded 1.4 million. So
Okay. Yeah,
yeah.
that's very good. I think that is around about the max you can get these days and be relatively safe in the prop if you're
Yeah.
trading CFD props.
Before you go with the sketchier firms, with the
Yeah.
with the cheaper firms and all this
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Yeah,
So
I
based on
think
your method, how come you haven't started futures trading? Because you're not a swing trader, so you could trade futures.
right. I've actually looked into futures trading. Currently I don't really fancy trailing drawdown, man.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
yeah, I feel like if you make profit, then that's the buffer, right? Like why is the drawdown brought up because you made profit? Like for me, I just it's really tough for me to wrap my head around. Like, yeah, like the fact that it trails and everything. But I will. I will start trying it soon just to test it out.
Hmm.
And if it, if it suits what I'm trading and my style and everything, then I'll probably go for quite a chunk of allocation as well for futures.
Yeah, I mean, because you're so consistent, I think it would be ideal for you because
Yeah.
futures requires, it's a lot harder, there's more rules. So I think someone like you who's consistent and just builds up base hits every time, you could really scale with futures. It's just whether they pay or not because even they only pay influencers and you hear of bans and things like that.
Yeah.
So, what is the reason for you building, like starting to share your journey on socials and things like that? Would you say it's because you don't want to be messed around by prop firms, or are you just documenting your journey?
I'm just documenting my journey.
Okay.
I personally feel that by documenting my journey, I could provide some sort of inspiration, um, some sort of value, and I'm not charging anyone for it. If someone can get inspired because I released a 10-minute video and it makes a positive impact on their life, then I think I did my job. Like
Yeah.
I'll be happy. Yeah, I think I just want to make an impact to the audience that, whoever that's watching my videos. I'm not chasing views, I'm not chasing any clout. It's just me, full-time trader, just being fully transparent, no bullshit and everything. So I think that, like you said, the trading space has had enough of this
Yeah.
nonsense. There's so much bad stuff on so many scammers and everything. So I think, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I just want to do the industry justice, like just bring someone that's transparent, that's honest, no lying and everything,
Mm.
and just provide value, try to inspire people.
Yeah, no, I love that. That is the right approach. I wish more people had that mindset. And like I say, I think it's only a matter of time before you start seeing more consistent traders like yourself on YouTube. And then, if people still want to follow the scammers, there's always going to be a certain number of people that are drawn to that. So be it. There's always going to be a mug out there, isn't there? Okay, so do you trade prop firms the same way you trade your Darwinex account, and or are there any differences?
They're exactly the same.
Okay.
The only difference is that Darwinex takes all my trades. So every single trade, like let's say in a week, I have 7 trades. So the Darwinex account will take all 7 trades. The only difference with my prop accounts is that I rotate them. So I do not trade all 1.4 million in funding at the same time. I rotate them because by rotating them and trading separately, I have more drawdown. So instead of so let's say all of my 1.4 million funding has a 10% max total loss drawdown. If I lose 10%, I lose everything.
Which is what I've done a couple of times.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what I do is that I trade 200K on separate days. And with my age, it's actually quite impossible. Well, not, I wouldn't say impossible, but it's like something out of the ordinary has to happen for me to blow all of it. Like yeah, if you have a profitable edge and you know your max losing streak and everything, and by taking trades separately on each account, right, the losses are spread out. They're not all on one account.
Yeah, no, that's very
Yeah.
wise. So I'm assuming at the end of the month you have payouts across every single firm that you're funded with.
Ideally, yes, yeah.
What average return would you say you're getting every month
Yeah, averagely now it's like the low five figures, so at least 10,000 and yeah, 10,000
across 1.4 million?
yeah,
What are you risking per trade?
1% per trade.
What on props as well and Darwin X?
Yes. Yeah, the same,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So what's your ultimate goal with props? Is it just to continue or
Uh, I want to scale as much as I can, but it's difficult. Yeah, it's difficult to scale when we spend so much time, so much effort trying to pass a challenge, and then next thing you know, they don't want to give you your funding, they don't want to pay you out. So, you know, I want to ideally get to 2 million, maybe 3 million if I can, but I know that if I do that, I there's a high chance that I'm not going to get paid out, or there's a high chance that they're going to deny funding one way or another. So that is why I'm looking into futures as well, because
okay.
with futures you can, well, you can scale quite big. But the thing is, like you said, it also depends on whether they want to pay you out as well. So yeah, it's a bit of a tough one, but I think, I want capital to do the hard work. So guys out there, you as a trader, it's not your job to make 10% in a month, right? You want capital to do the hard work for you. So instead of having a 100K account making 10% a month, if you scale a capital and get more capital, you need to make less percentage in a month to get the same outcome in payouts. So that's why capital is important. But yeah, for me, I scale as much as I can without getting in trouble, I guess.
Yeah, I think scaling, let capital do the heavy lifting. That's
Yep.
that's the key message here. But I feel a lot of people, when I speak to them, they're scared to scale. And again, it just comes back to not knowing your edge and not knowing your data. Otherwise, you'd have no problem in scaling because you know you're going to make more money. So if
Yep.
you're scared to scale, it probably means you don't know your data and your metrics, which is why you're unsure. So again, everything comes back to knowing your edge inside out as much as possible. Um, I think you could do a lot of scaling though with for example, you're with FTMO, I don't know, you'll probably be eligible for FTMO Prime soon. So you could get up to, I think, 1 million or 2 million over the long run with them. So that will help. I believe you said ACG have reached out to you. I don't know if they've confirmed, but I think you're a candidate for Alpha Capital Prime as well. Is that
On
right?
the short, I'm on the short list. So ever since getting off the call with the operations manager, I haven't had any contact yet on that. But I think, as the Darwinex interview comes out, with Kieran, and then I'm gonna do a dedicated video on my Darwinex and the journey, how I got to gold, my verifiable track record. I'll probably reach out to ACG again to say, hey, look. You know my stats with your firm. You know my payouts. This is my verifiable track record. So if you want to take things to the next level, then I'm more than grateful for that to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be hard for them to deny you because you're trading the exact same trades pretty much on the Darwinex and the prop firm accounts. So since you've gained this $1.4 million dollars, how many payouts have you had on each account? How long have you had the accounts for? Because obviously you haven't blown them. Like you said, it'd be nigh on impossible to blow the accounts.
I can't remember the number, but just alone so the first account that I got with ACG was a 100K funded account. And just alone on that account, I already have over 10,000 in payouts. And then now, I think just recently, I just got a 200K account of ACG, but that's a little bit in drawdown. I think 1% in drawdown. So I need to get that out of drawdown and get a payout. But yeah, I mean, as the operations manager said on the phone, they know my stats. They know my business with them. So I think it's just more on making it known that I have that verifiable track record on Darwinex, and hopefully they can use that data and create a partnership.
Okay. Right, Darwin X. Let's get to it. So what initially drew you to Darwin X and what were your motivations?
There's a few reasons. First of all, like I said, the prop firm industry was going through a bad patch, and I needed to find a way to diversify my trading. If I put all my eggs in one basket and the prop dies, then I have to start from scratch again. So it was an easy decision for me to diversify with Darwin X.
So
Number
was this
two,
early 2024?
um, it was kind of like mid 2024. Yeah, I think if we look at
Yeah.
my Darwin X portfolio later, I yeah, I think I kind of started after the midpoint of 2024 with
Yeah,
Darwin
it's only
X.
been what, 9 months or 10 months, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
8, 9 months.
Okay.
And then with building your verifiable track record, and if you're a legit trader and you have an edge, then naturally you would go to gold, right? I mean, that's the target, because which trader doesn't want more capital to manage? Like,
Yeah.
it's a dream. It's a trader's dream to manage more capital.
And it's easy
So
to scale now because you can just use a trade copier.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's what attracted me to Darwinex, and to be honest, I've loved my experience with Darwinex ever since.
Okay. Yeah. So, all right then. So I'm really excited now to go through some of your stats on your dashboard and we'll explain them to everyone. So if you share your screen.
Sure. Or can you see it now?
Yeah, I can see it.
Oh, okay, cool. Right.
Perfect. Wow, 24%. That is incredible. Jesus.
Right.
So
Yeah.
TVTA is your Darwin ticker.
Yep, that's right.
Uh, so if you click on return risk, so the first tabs, and then we'll start from the beginning. So this will show your equity curve and the month you started. So yeah, you started in August.
Yep.
So 9 months.
Yep, 9 months.
Yeah.
And then I got into gold. Yeah. So if you can
Um,
scroll down here, this is the proof that an investor has
oh yeah.
invested money.
Congratulations. So that's since you've okay, so you start on Darwinex Silver.
Yeah.
You reached gold, was it this month?
It was, yeah, I think at the start of this month. Yeah, because the investor put in on the 7th, a week after I got into gold.
So start of May. So when you
Yep.
started on Darwinex Silver, you were gaining does it still show your Darwinex Silver stats, like how much allocations you had if you go down on the below there, or oh it doesn't show anymore. It's
Yeah, it
only
doesn't
showing
show
gold.
anymore. Yeah.
Okay. So were you gaining 30K seed capital from Darwinex, would you say, on a almost monthly basis, or do you know what your monthly streak was?
Yeah, it was at least 30K every month, correct.
Okay, for what, eight months?
I'm not sure if it's all 8 months, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so you've got Darwinia allocation here on gold. So you've been given seed
Right.
capital 150,000 from Darwinex Gold, and then on top of that, 17,000 from an investor, giving you
Yep.
167,000 in total AUM. Oh, there's your Darwinia received. If you go back down on the right-hand side.
Oh, this one?
No, go down on the right. Yeah, go down a bit more. There, 215,000.
Yeah.
So was this from Darwinex Silver?
Yes, I believe so, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's incredible. And so, yeah, we can see your returns per month there as well. So from August 2024, you're averaging, yeah, about 2% a month there, 0.75, 1.65, 0. Yeah, you stopped trading, I remember, over December, Christmas. You don't trade, which is very wise. So you
Yeah.
gained 7% in just, 5 months?
Yeah.
And that's risk adjusted, which we'll also get into and explain to everyone. And then 2025, wow, you hit it off. Did something change there,
That
or is that just better market conditions, or?
better market conditions. For some reason, just the start of 2024, it just favored my edge.
Yeah, so 4.63, 3.485. You said you're in a bit of drawdown on your prop accounts. I'm assuming that's why you're in a bit of drawdown on your Darwinex as well, because you're trading them the same.
Yeah, that's correct.
Wow. So in the 5 months in 2024, you gained 7%, and in 5 months in 2025, even with drawdown, you're up 15%,
Yeah.
which is absolutely amazing. And you haven't even traded a full year yet. Okay, so your total returns 24.83%. So an interesting thing. So I think what a lot of people don't understand with Darwinex. Do you want to explain a little bit about the figure in the bottom left-hand corner, Darwinex risk and the risk multiplier, why Darwinex use it, why it's a good thing, how it gives us a level playing field? And then if you click on it and actually show how your multiplier has changed over time. And yeah, I'll just let you just take the floor and just talk to the audience a bit about
Yeah.
that.
Look, that as you all know, Darwinex risk adjusts everybody. It's not targeted to a specific trader. Everybody gets risk adjusted because number one, they want to protect the investor as well. It's all about exposure to the markets, right? So we also know that Darwinex benchmarks the traders or the results against the S&P 500. So yeah, I know that there are some comments or people worrying about, hey, why am I getting risk adjusted? Um, is Darwinex limiting me,
Yeah.
or is the risk engine against me? Is it providing me an unfavorable position? No, it's actually not. Um, it's an like Raihan said, and as I know, it's to everybody. Everybody gets risk adjusted, but not everybody gets risk adjusted the same way because everybody trades differently. So you just need to trust the risk engine, just keep trading, keep following your plan, and you will just ultimately get allocated a certain risk X multiplier. So don't worry too much about it.
Yeah. And I think the proof is in the pudding here, how the risk engine is not against you because if you look at Colin's risk multiplier, it's under one, it's 0.59. So no one can say, oh, the risk engine is favoring Colin. That's why he's got to gold and he's got 25% because for every 1% gain, he's gaining on his Signal account, which is on his MT5 account. He's gaining 0.59% on his Darwin. So remember, everything, the investors only see your Darwin. They're not seeing your MT5 account. So, for example, I'm just going to pull some numbers out the air now. You start with a 100k MT5 Signal account. The investor does not see that. You're up 25%, right? So your Darwin quote is 125, which means you're up 25% because everyone's Darwin starts at 100. However, Colin's Signal account, MT5 account could be up 50% or 60 or 70%. I don't know. Can you tell us what it's at? Yes,
Um, I would have to wait. Hold on 1 minute.
just roughly. Yeah, that's fine.
Right. So on my Darwinex account, I am up 44%.
Yeah, so that's because that Darwinex risk multiplier, obviously, when you clicked on it, I think it changes over time based on
Yeah.
market conditions. And but for you, I'd imagine because you used fixed stop loss and fixed lots and RR, your risk multiplier must be very stable.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think if we click here, yeah, you can see
Yeah.
here on the chart
Oh, it's
that
always been 0.53 to zero point 0.6. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, it's very linear. It's not
Yeah.
jumping a bunch.
Yeah.
So that's because I trade very consistently. I'm not changing much.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
this indicates consistency and a stable strategy. Because I know people, for example, they have made 80,000 on their Signal account, but because they let their positions go into deep drawdown and then it comes up and they close, for example, let's say they're trading gold, which is much more volatile. I think I know someone who's up over 80,000 in the Signal account, but on the Darwin level, it's around 10, 12%. So this is why we say it puts everyone on a level playing field, right? So some people will be dialed up. So they'll have a risk multiplier that's above one. So for let's say they have a risk multiplier of 1.2. So for every 1% they make in their MT5 account, they're gaining 1.2% on their Darwin. So some people are dialed down and some people are dialed up. And this is all to protect the investor because, this is professional. It's a proper track record. And when investors start investing in you, when you get to gold, like Colin has done in just 8, 9 months, the investor has to be protected. So it's all benchmarked against the S&P 500. And I've also heard Kieran saying, actually, when he does his the Twitter Spaces, they actually use Euro USD as a benchmark for one of the metrics. I
Oh,
don't know if
interesting.
have you heard that?
No, I've never heard
Because
about it.
yeah, I was quite surprised because I know the VAR is benchmarked against what is it, the value at risk
Value at risk 6.5 or
6.5%.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But then there is something they use. I don't know when it comes to volatility, it's benchmarked against the Euro USD. So I guess
interesting.
it's actually maybe a good thing that we trade Euro USD. So yeah, your Sharp ratio is 3.73. So you can see all these stats. This is what, if you were to go to a hedge fund investor or any external private investor yourself, they will ask you for a lot of these details. Like Colin could go to an investor, just show them the returns per month and then these statistics, and he could gain investment. And he's only 9 months in. Give it 2, 3, 4, 5 years. That track record's going to be even more powerful. You can gain more capital because the investor's going to have more data and he's going to have more confidence in you. So yeah, is there anything below the statistics if we carry on going down?
Yeah,
Our return distribution.
distribution,
Yeah.
winning days.
So is that basically your win rate, 69%?
No, actually, my overall general win rate is just below 50%.
Yeah, that's on the other tab. We'll see that after.
Yeah,
Average daily return 0.76%, and then best and worst moments. So yeah, you see, look, his best days and worst days are the same. So you can have your best days or double your worst days. They can be the same, as long as overall, obviously, you have positive R
Yep.
and a positive EV. It doesn't matter because look, they're pretty even, but still you're up 25%.
This is a really good
Yeah,
analysis as well, because if you look on the top of my portfolio, the max drawdown that I've ever been in is 5.51%. But with the chart that you can find below in my on my portfolio, it says that with that 5.51%, it took me 14 days to get out of it.
yeah,
So it just shows that, if you have an edge and you stick to it, just naturally you'll just get out of drawdown, right?
yeah,
Um, yeah, and it's good. It's really good to show, especially potential investors, that if they get into a similar situation, then it's kind of like a good indication, I guess, or a reference point to what a trader can do to recover those losses.
yeah. And it's risk adjusted. So going sizing up isn't going to help you because a lot of people will do that. And then what will happen? Your Darwinex risk multiplier will come down. The risk engine will size you down to protect the investor, and then you're just going to make life harder for yourself. So the key advice here is just keep what you're doing and remain consistent and
Yeah,
be patient and work your way out of drawdown. Don't rush anything. Don't go on tilt. Don't size up. Just take your time to get out of it. Because I've seen on interviews with the Darwin X founder, Juan, he always says you just need to make 1 to 2% a month for 2 to 3 years and you're world class and you'll be able to get millions in investor funding.
yeah,
But I don't
exactly.
think people understand this. They think they need to make 5%, 10% a month. But when it comes to real track record and investor capital, different ball game. This isn't prop trading anymore. This is real trading.
Right. So yeah, I mean, like Juan said, like Raihan mentioned as well, 1 to 2% a month, and you're doing better than almost all, like everyone else, to be honest. Because if
Mm,
you can stay that consistent, you're consistently pulling out money from the markets as well. So, like I said earlier in this chat with Raihan, it's not your job to make 10% a month. Yeah, I know January, and there's 4, 3, 3, and then 5 here, but that's just because my age is allowing me to do that, right? If I could make 1 2% a month consistently throughout the year, like I would take that any other day as well.
mm.
So yeah.
It's amazing that you've had all green months, and then as soon as you've hit gold, you've had a red month. Would you say that's because you feel extra pressure now that you're managing investor money, or are you still following the system the same way you always do?
No, no pressure. System is still the same, but also we are still in the middle of the month.
Exactly.
So,
So you think you'll recover that?
if all goes well, yes.
Okay.
I'll try to. I mean, if we look at the Darwin risk, right? If every winning trade I'm getting 0.6, then it's just a matter of time where two trades and I'll wipe that drawdown out.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
now it's 16th of May. We still have 2 more weeks to trade. So I'm looking forward to it. If I end the month in red, I end the month in red. I really, not to say that I do not care. It's just that it is what it is. I have to
Yeah.
take it as it is. Not everybody can have all green months. So
No,
guys, please don't have any unrealistic expectations of your trading. Like you have to be comfortable losing as well, right? Like you can't you're not a machine, or you're not a robot where that you're going to guarantee investors, hey, if you invest in me, I'm going to get green months for you all year round. Like that's not the case. If you look at one of the trader on Darwinex that has the most amount of allocations or investor capital, you would see red months as well.
of course.
So
Yeah.
so yeah, so it's not about pressure, or I don't really worry about that. All I care about is I have to be consistent in executing my trades, and to
Yeah.
not change behaviors, or all that kind of things. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like you say, if you get a fixed, you're aiming for fixed 2R per trade, two trades 4R times by 0.59 risk multiplier, and then you've recovered that drawdown and you'll be positive green.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, like interesting thing regarding the drawdown as well. I've seen a few Darwins where they've been in a massive drawdown for, let's say, 12 months, and then they've come back And because they've worked their way out over 12 months, when they've come back, because they've put consistent returns together month after month, they've gained number one on the ranking and
Right.
gained 315 or 375K on Darwinex Silver, which is the max you can get before you reach gold in seed capital. Um, so yeah, it's never a lost cause. Too many people say, "Oh, I want to restart my Darwin," or "I've had a bad few months. I think I should restart." No, because nothing's going to change. You're always going to have bad months. If you do this for long enough, it's going to happen again. You can't
Yeah.
trade like you can't have all green months for the rest of your trading career. It's not going to happen.
Yep.
Very unlikely. So just stick at it. Even if you're in a heavy, big drawdown, it looks better if you work your way out of drawdown rather than starting again. That has a lot more value. The investor will have more trust in you. You will have more trust in yourself. You'll have more data, and it's going to reinforce those good habits as well. Um, all right, cool. So shall we go to the next tab on your
Yeah, sure.
dashboard? So, well, we know assets is just Euro USD. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It says number of assets two here.
yeah,
It's because that it was just one time during the calibration
yeah,
stage that I traded another asset, but it didn't. I just closed it. Yeah,
yeah,
because
yeah.
I figured out. Well, I told myself actually I shouldn't be trading this asset, and if it's going on a verifiable track record, I don't want it in my verifiable track record. So that's why it says two here, but. Yeah, I'm predominantly always trading EU. As you can see here, my winners are 46%. So, below 50%. So you need to ask yourself, right? Like if you focus too much on win rate, I want an 80, 90% win rate. Actually, it's all relative because if you're getting positive RRs, then, as long as as long as it makes sense, the RR ratio to the win rate, then you're good, right?
Okay. And then what's below trading time distribution? Okay, so you trade predominantly the European session,
Yeah.
97% of the time. Um, Asian session, just one trade. Okay, American session, eight, and then European, 287. So most of your trades are done by 4 p.m. UK time. Oh no,
Um,
before half two, sorry.
yeah, actually, yeah, correct.
Yeah.
I don't normally when I trade, I don't want my trade to become an overnight trade. So I would love for everything to be done as soon as possible. I think with losses as well, I prefer that I lose quickly, instead of dragging out for like 5, 6 hours and then losing. I don't know, it's just preference for me, but obviously it's out of my control. The market does what it wants to do. If I hit TP in 30 minutes, great. If I hit TP in 5 hours, then that's great as well. So it's just all about sticking to the plan and just executing.
Okay. If we carry on going down. So, okay.
So yeah, this is quite interesting. So if we look at the return distribution for days, so this is where you can look at which days you perform better than
Yeah.
other days.
So this
So
is
as
what
you
you
can
were
see,
already journaling and knew before Darwinex, and Darwinex just confirmed it with them
exactly.
strategy metrics as well. So Monday and Thursdays are your best days by far.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
Friday and Wednesdays, you barely make anything. So yeah, you could probably even stop trading on Wednesdays and Fridays. You could take two
yeah,
days off a week and have a
yeah,
holiday.
yeah. Which
Yeah,
which is the which yeah, which kind of translate to look, if you're a full-time trader and you're not scalping like 100 trades a day or whatever, especially right on a swing trader, you're gonna have a lot of time on your hands.
yeah,
And this is where it can break you because you're gonna start feeling an itch, to get into a trade, to overtrade, to break your rules. But also you can take it more positively as I have. When I became a full-time trader, when I quit my corporate job, I had a lot of time on my hands as well. And that's where like I said, I wanted to document my trade,
mm,
get better at speaking to the camera, get better at video editing. So, pick up skills where you can develop yourself, not just focusing full-time on trading. But yeah, what you do with your free time, it depends on you. It's up to you. But just know that if you have too much free time and you are jumping back into the charts wanting to force trades is not a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, for me, trading is the ultimate freedom, time freedom. You can gain financial freedom as well.
Yeah.
So for this, like, if that was me, I'd be like, oh wow, 2 days a week, I can do my hobbies, do
Yeah.
whatever, do my cooking, go to the spend the whole day at the gym, or go for a walk, whatever I want to do. I know I don't have to put as much pressure on myself on those 2 days. So that's really interesting.
Yeah.
So beneath that, even though you have those returns per day, you're still taking the same number of trades roughly every single day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason why Friday is the lowest,
Oh
like
yeah.
I said, I don't want I generally do not want overnight trades. And the thing
Okay.
is, if I take a trade on Friday and it becomes a over the weekend trade, oh, I really don't like that. So, as you know, when market opens on Monday, we have massive gaps sometimes, and that really can make or break a trade whilst you're holding it throughout the weekend, right? So for me, like I said, I'm an intraday trader. I like my positions to end within the day itself, so that's why Friday I take less trades naturally. I would more focus on Monday to Thursday for myself.
Okay. Is that the end of that page?
Yeah, that's the end of the
Yeah.
page.
So I think this will be the interesting one now. Strategy analysis. Yeah. So this will tell us win rate. Yeah, 46%. Number of trades. Average winning trade, you make 0.9%, which is double your average losing trade. Like you said, fixed 1 R loss, fixed 2 R TP. So
Yeah.
there's the proof. Payoff ratio 1.89. Average losing. Yeah. So even your trade duration is pretty much the same for your winners and your losers. So you do hit stop loss within 2 hours. That's pretty quick. Duration versus profit. I don't ever really look at this one. What does this tell us? Okay,
I
yeah, I
I
see.
Yeah, I don't really look at it as well, but I think it's like I think I requested a analysis of my ticker from Kieran, and he said something about this section where that it tells you the time frame on when you're hitting your losses. So I think you can see here
Yeah,
in the first, 0 to 30 minutes or the first 30 minutes to 1 hour, that's when I would hit most of my losses.
yeah,
But if the trade maybe probably drags out to longer, then that's
yeah,
when it would maybe steer in my direction.
yeah,
So, but yeah, but the thing it kind of goes against what I said because like I said, I rather lose quick, right?
yeah,
So I kind of welcome this. I kind of like this kind of stuff because
yeah,
I want to lose quickly and then I focus on the next trade or I
yeah,
focus on the next day.
yeah.
So yeah.
I think for everyone as well, you may not be able to get any information from this. It may just be a totally random distribution. Like for me, I can make 20 pips in an hour. Sometimes a 20 pips could be a day for me. It depends on the market, how long it takes to reach target. So that's out of my hands. So for me, I think this is completely random. But yeah, if we
Mm.
carry on to the next one. So this is the interesting one. I always look at these on everyone's tickers. So max positive, negative excursion per position. So this shows for every trade Colin takes, when he wins, where does he exit? So if you look at the black bars at the top, look, they're all like 1% wins on his Darwin. And when he loses, which are the red bars. The black line shows where he closes out, and anything in between that shows what the unrealized gain was. So if the green bars were above his black lines, that would mean he had a bigger unrealized gain, and then he realized the gain and closed when it came down a little bit. So it would mean he could have had more profit if he were to close at the top of the trade. And then it's just the same for the losses. So it will show what your running loss was, and the black line shows where you actually closed on the trade. So I thought yours would all be the same if you're using a fixed stop loss, but your red bars are slightly different.
I think yeah, I'm not too sure on that, but the red
Okay.
bars it just shows like how yeah, I'm not too sure about that actually.
Okay. So anyway, so yeah, it could be maybe because it's the Darwin risk has changed slightly over time. I'm not sure, but look, the highest loss he's ever had is just about 1%. It's very
Yep.
tight between 0.75 and naught. And when he's winning, look, most of his winners are at 1%. So, yeah, that's. You were saying that you use this, right? You learned a lot from this. Or was you
Yeah,
already
because
journaling this as well?
yeah, because it highlights that okay, so the green bars, what it means is that I'm not leaving too much on the table
Yeah,
when I close the trade.
yeah.
Um, and then for the red bars is that yeah, I don't know why it's so, sometimes it's low and sometimes it's higher. But
Okay.
maybe I don't know whether it's because sometimes I take a second trade on the day. So it might, yeah, because it might I might take the first loss and then I might take a win, a TP. So I don't know. Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, it might be combined because I think
Yeah, it might be combined.
you take more trades, you take a lot more trades than the number of bars there, right? If
Yeah,
you've
yeah,
got
definitely.
148 trades or whatever it was, that's not 148 bars, is it?
Yep, exactly. So I think
Yeah.
if you look at it, it's actually per day, right? 22, 23, 29. So this is actually per day. So it's combined of the amount of trades that I took in the same day.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Oh yeah, and then this is the VAR, the VAR. So, okay. So this indicates a stable strategy. So this shows the value of the signal account at risk during the selected period. Yeah, the more stable it is, the easier it is for the risk manager to faithfully replicate. Yeah. So because this line is relatively steady, that's why your Darwin X risk, it was the same when we saw the multiplier. Some people, they may have a height like it's gone down over time because their strategies become more stable. So they may have been
Mhm.
over 10 or 12%, and then they've brought it to 4%. So because yours is at 8, and I think they want to replicate the S&P VAR of the S&P at 6.5. That's why you have like the 0.59 risk multiplier, because it wants to bring it down a little bit.
Mhm.
But if you were, let's say, your VAR was like 1 or 2%, then your multiplier would be over 1 because they'd be multiplying your risk, your return, sorry. But yeah, no, that's really stable. And then I think the rotation is underneath, which indicates oh, so your maximum VAR was 12 and it's come down to 8. So
To
that's really
eight.
good.
Yeah.
So you want to, the lower that is, the better. Um, yeah, I think Kieran was explaining this as well recently. So this
Yeah,
is,
we need like a deep dive into all this kind of stuff because
yeah,
I know
yeah, it's for the nerds, isn't it?
yeah, yeah, because I know Kieran, he self-proclaimed himself that he's a data like all this
Yeah,
data nerd, right? So
yeah, yeah.
he
He
loves
explains everything
diving
really
into
clearly. Yeah.
yeah, he dives into all of this to what it means, what's the definition and everything. So yeah.
And I think when I
Uh
was listening to a Q&A on Twitter, he was saying the Darwinex risk engine has like a 45-day look back period, which I didn't know.
right.
And then there's some other factors they take into account, like the average volatility of the asset you're trading. Um, what's the other thing? Oh, I forgot now. It'll come back to me, but
Or,
there's a few factors. Okay. I
yeah,
never look
should we
at
look at
correlation.
that?
There's no point, is there? Well, you can, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
it's
this shows, okay, other Darwins, if they're similar to yours.
right.
Do you ever look at this?
Never.
Yeah, I never do.
Never look at it. I don't, yeah. I mean, I would love for Kieran to break all of this down for me.
Yeah,
But yeah, normally I don't use correlation. I don't really look at strategy analysis because I know my strategy inside out.
yeah.
But it's mainly these two. Yeah, the asset and timeframes
Same.
and the return and the risk. Yeah.
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 Okay. Oh, and so can you show us how much? Because a lot of people they moan about the payouts. So I was going to ask you about that as well.
For that, I
Yeah.
think
So let's
it's
see, like just
allocation.
on Darwinex Silver, how you
Yeah.
obviously because you've had
So
positive months, you
I
must
got
have.
a fee of 519 euros
Yeah.
for when I was in silver. And
Yeah.
then
But now you're on gold. That's going to scale up quite a lot.
yeah, so now actually at one point this was at 1,000 euros, but obviously with a bit of a drawdown, it went
Yeah.
back down. But yeah, this closes on the I believe 3rd of June, if I'm not mistaken. So I still have a month and a half to trade this.
So on Darwinex Gold, you get paid. The allocations are monthly then.
Um,
or are they for 3 months?
The allocation, you mean when you receive Darwinia allocations?
The investor capital, is that for 3 months as well?
Oh, it's quarterly, yes, in 3 months as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
months.
you're getting paid quarterly or are you getting paid monthly?
Quarterly.
Yeah, quarterly. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, this is just proof that, the P&L, the fees, and
15%
then this
profit
is
split.
the,
Yeah.
yeah, this is the profit split. So
Yeah.
this is what I ended the quarter with, and then this is a split.
Yeah.
So
And
yep,
that was
just
just from Darwinex Silver,
yep.
which is what, around 30K a month if you hit a rating of 75. So imagine now that Colin's hit gold, you can gain, I think, up to, is it 500,000 max a month?
Yes, if you're first on gold
Yeah, if you're
and
first.
500K for 6 months.
And is that's from Darwin X?
Yes, exactly. That's from
Uh,
Darwinia. Yep.
and then on top of that, you can get investor capital.
Exactly. So if we go to this tab here and you see now I'm in gold, the first guy, LBXP, when he finishes this month in the number one spot, he gets 500K. That's purely from Darwinia, from
And
from the from the Darwinia application.
is there a limit
Sorry,
to how much you can gain in outside investors on gold per month?
I don't think there's a limit.
So he could potentially gain even more than that, or
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right, let's see my question. What would you say the biggest improvement is that Darwinex has helped you make with regards to your trading, if at all?
I stopped taking it. I mean, not that I was already taking unnecessary trades, but the pure fact is, any trades that you trade on your Darwinex account, it's gonna be on a track record, right? So you want to exclude all those rookie mistakes, all those unnecessary trades that you're taking. You want to exclude it out because personally, I don't want any of those on my verifiable track record. So yeah, it kind of helps to be a bit more disciplined, more consistent. And I want to show on my track record that I'm pulling in, consistent profits so that I can attract investors, right? Like I said, the
Yeah.
one of the main thing is that I want to manage more capital and make the capital do the heavy lifting.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. So I actually had someone reach out to me yesterday and say when they trade prop accounts, they can pass a prop challenge and they'll get to one payout before blowing the account. And they asked if Darwin X is a good idea to start. I know you said you want to eradicate those rookie mistakes, and you should be taking your A+ setups, but I actually think Darwinex Zero is a place to actually hone. A lot of people use it to hone their edge because it gives you that accountability as well. So if you're still refining and working on yourself, I think Darwinex is a great reason to start as well. Because it's going to hold you accountable. You can use the metrics that we've just gone through to see how to improve your edge using like the strategy analysis tab, for example. So I actually think it goes both ways. I think even if you're not the finished article, because not many people are, I think Darwinex Zero is a great place to start. And I think if you are the finished article, then you can even go to Darwinex Exchange and trade, put your own money into the broker, and you can actually potentially gain investors even quicker. But the ecosystem works the same. You can start with Darwinex Zero, and then you can transfer your record. It carries over to the Darwinex exchange as well, I believe. So I think Darwinex Zero is a great place to start, hence why it's called Darwinex Zero. It's sort of the entry into the ecosystem. Think of it, I always say, like the football leagues. You have the League One, and then when you get to Darwinex Gold, you've hit the Championship or the Premier League. And that's what you're aiming for, and it takes time. So what would you say to people who complain that payouts are too low with Darwinex Zero? Because I get this all the time.
Yeah, I'll give you the straight answer. If you're looking for payouts, then do not then you shouldn't look at Darwinex as a model that pays you out the most, right? Because if you want to look purely for biggest payouts, then just trade props.
Yeah.
Yeah, Darwinex, you need to understand that Darwinex is a completely different model than props, right? They are offering two different things. One is just offering you, obviously, leveraging on simulated capital to get payouts. The other one is, Darwinex Zero, is verifiable track record and attracting investor capital. So if you purely want to make money, then Darwinex is not the platform for you. But if you want to have a verifiable track record, hone your edge, look at the metrics, have some insights to your strategy, and potentially, get more capital in more of a hedge fund manager way, then yeah, then you can look at Darwinex.
Yeah, and if you do well, you can actually, and a few, I think that Darwin THA has done this. You can use the Darwinex infrastructure and start your own hedge fund as a service using Darwinex's infrastructure because they have all the regulations. They're FCA regulated. They've been around since 2012. And if you want to go that route, which I would love to do, I'm sure you would one day as well, you can start your own hedge fund uh, using Darwinex's infrastructure and gain millions.
Yep.
I mean that should be the dream for any trader. That's my dream. But don't stop. Do both, like Colin's doing. Do everything. Scale it. You have a trade copier, even if you don't want to use a trade copier. You trade everything. You never leave anything on the table. If you want immediate, quick money income, trade props and then do your Darwinex alongside that because in 3 to 5 years you don't know if props are still going to be here, if regulation's going to come in, if they're going to start limiting payouts, if more prop firms are going to fail. Darwinex is still going to be here, and then it will give you that confidence to funnel that prop firm money that you've made into your own broker account, and you can trade that the same way as your Darwinex because you've got all the data to back yourself up that you're going to do well. Because look at Colin, he's started with the 100 grand on the Signal account, on the MT5 account, and that's worth is, did you say it's over 50,000 you've made?
44%. So 40, now it's at 144,000.
Yeah. So if you started with your own capital in 8, 9 months, if that was your own 100 grand that you funneled in from prop firms or 50K, you can do the maths and you know what you're going to make in a real account. So, but that's only because you know what you're doing. And most traders, they don't know what they're doing. So the goal should always be to get consistent, think long term. And yeah, so you said you don't feel any extra pressure from gaining your first investor. It must feel amazing though. Like
Yeah,
do you have a goal in mind for how much funding you want to gain, or are you just going to let it happen naturally?
I'm just gonna let it happen naturally. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's because, whether the investor is there or not, it's not like I'm gonna change how I trade. So
yeah,
I just treat it the same, right? Like whether I just, like I said, I just want to show up every day knowing that I stuck to the plan. I didn't take a detour. I didn't overtrade. I didn't let emotions get the best of me. Like, yeah, just show up every day, do what you're supposed to do, and just that's all.
yeah. Okay. Lastly, on Darwin X, do you think there are any improvements Darwin X could make, and do you have any feedback?
Hmm. Tough question.
Would you buy the permanent allocations or anything like that, or are you happy to just trade the capital that you're given?
yeah, actually, I kind of like what they did with the permanent allocation, but at the same time, with going 5% and the amount of money that they're charging, I think like personally for me as a trader, I would rather use that to just buy a prop firm account
Yeah,
because
it's
monetary
opportunity
wise
cost.
yeah, monetary wise it makes more sense that way, but
Yeah,
that doesn't take anything away from what Darwinex is
yeah,
doing.
uh,
Because if we're playing the long game here, I think
yeah,
Darwinex is going to come out on top of prop firms.
yeah. I
So
agree.
yeah,
I agree. Okay. So we're gonna have some. Okay, shall we stop the screen share now, and we'll just go
sure.
back to us? Yeah, cool. So I've got some community member questions. There may be some overlap here. So I think you saw them in the Telegram group yesterday. So I'll just go ahead. So how do you handle losses and maintain your composure in high pressure situations?
I set an amount that I'm willing to lose for the day. And so for me, if I lose 2%, two trades, because I trade 1% risk per trade, right? If I take two losses in a row, which is 2% in a day, I step away from the charts and I do not trade ever again until the next trading day. Now, a
Okay.
lot of people, they struggle with that because they have the itch or the urge to make it back. And that's where you're losing already. You've already lost more because emotions got the best of you, right? You're just chasing trades. You're gonna enter a trade and it's so unnecessary. So set maybe a limit of how much you're willing to lose. And if that limit is reached, just step away from the charts. There's always tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, you can get that back. It doesn't matter. You don't need to get that back immediately.
Yeah.
So just play it within your edge. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have a max loss limit for the day or max
Yep.
number of trades, losing
Normally, yeah,
trades.
it's two trades, 2%, and I walk
Okay.
away.
Okay. I think we've answered this as well. Someone asked, what key things helped you switch from unprofitable to profitable? And they said, is the goal to become a full-time trader or stay part-time? I don't know why they asked that. You are full-time. Any mentors who helped shape how you trade?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
Because okay. So what you should know, in my personal opinion, is that when you find your edge, it's possible that you take inspirations from different factors of what you see, right? So, if you like structures, if you like the Fibonacci retracement, so you cherry pick them and you put it together and you try to make it work.
Yeah.
So I think it's the same for, yeah, it's like a combination, right? Figure out the combination and refine it to make it work and make it profitable edge.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I'm exactly the same. Pretty much self-taught. Had a few sources of inspiration of a few
Yeah.
like few chat rooms that I was in when I first started, but I developed it and made it my own and built on it. Someone's put consecutive losses in a row. Did you take a step back after consecutive losses? If yes, how did it help in your next trade setup?
Okay, so it's actually quite let me relate this to something else. So a lot of people, to be a full-time trader and to be in a place where you want to accomplish things, yes, you need an edge, yes, you need a strategy, but at the same time you need patience, you need discipline, you need good trading psychology. Unfortunately, people aren't going to teach you that. So let's say for Raihan, he's accomplished, he's had his accolades, and he can tell you, hey, David, stop, just walk away. Have better trading psychology, have that patience. So he can tell you everything that you need to hear, but at the same time, it's you who needs to take action. So no matter how many advices that you get from people, it's you within that needs to take action. You need to step away when you need to step away. You need the discipline when you need to have that discipline. So, so yeah, it's just having that limit, having the ability to walk away. Like I said, there's always tomorrow. You don't have to take 10 trades in a day just to make it back or whatever. So yeah.
Yeah, I think most people need to learn. It's just human nature to learn from your own mistakes rather than other people's mistakes.
Yeah.
We can advise people, but until they feel that pain, they're not, they're gonna make that mess, that cock up, if you like. But I think people that can learn from other people's mistakes, I think that's very rare. But if you are like that, you'll avoid a lot of heartache and a lot of pain and a lot of time in your trading career if you do. Just touching on psychology, you mentioned a few times there. What do you think, like, well, not what do you think, do you do anything actively to help your psychology, or would you say you're just so focused on the edge and the data there that that takes care of the psychology?
Definitely data backs it up, but
Have you
yeah,
read any psychology
mostly.
books, or is there any protocols you do every day to sort of relieve yourself and like take your mind off the markets, or would you say you're just quite a mentally resilient person and you can switch off?
I can switch off when I want to, but obviously I prefer not. Like the whole thing about being a full-time trader is that I don't want to stare at the charts 24/7, right? Because that's no different than working a corporate job.
Yeah.
So yeah, what I do in my spare time, I play sports. I like to be active. Um, when I have the ability to not be on the charts, I will definitely be not on the charts. Yeah, so whether that's keeping active, hanging out with friends, spending time with
Yeah.
family, whatever that is,
Okay.
but yeah,
How do you define your trading success? I think that's quite a good question.
yeah, I feel like I'm just getting started.
Yeah, I love that. That's like my philosophy is the same. I always say this is just the start because I've got such big goals that I want to achieve and attain. So if you're saying this is just you just getting started with 1.4 million prop firm capital and you've got to Darwinex Gold, where do you want to be? Where in 5, 10 years time? Do you want to be managing tens of millions?
Yeah, I mean that yeah, I think that's the goal for any trader.
Yeah.
Um, if you tell a trader that they have the opportunity to manage millions and they said, "Nah, I don't really want that," then I don't think you're a real trader
Yeah, you
because
shouldn't.
every
Yeah.
trader would dream of it,
Yeah,
right?
find another job.
Yeah.
You want to trade for the rest of your life?
I think
Or
the answer is
would you
no.
want to divest into different businesses one day?
Yeah, I think I look at trading right now as a vehicle. So it's a monetary vehicle for me to do other things in the future. I can't lie to you and say that I'm very passionate about trading. I love trading a lot or whatever because I mean, yes, we do need some sort of passion. Really, it takes a lot mentally on you. It takes a toll.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand, people being unprofitable is not a nice place to be at. So yeah, I think right now I have the perspective of where trading is just gonna make me money, but then it's up to me to use that money to make more money in other means.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think anything you make from prop firms, invest what you can in businesses or the stock market, because if you keep investing X amount of your income every month or whenever you have some spare money, don't let it sit in the bank. You need to invest it because if you want to retire and you want your money working for you, then, in 30, 40 years, the younger you start, compounding works its magic. 30, 40 years, you're going to be laughing because there's nothing better than just investing in select stocks and the stock market long term. Like, let's say the S&P 500 returns on average 8% a year. Over 30, 40 years, you can't go wrong. If you have millions in your pension pot. So I'm a big believer in that as well. So don't spend all your money. Whoever's watching this, don't blow it on fancy cars or holidays. Yes, enjoy your life, but you need to learn to be able to hold off those impulses, invest your money as well. Time taken from unprofitable to profitable.
Like if you classify from the first time I've ever traded in my life and then, throughout that journey, 4 years, like at least
4 years.
minimum. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I always say minimum 3 to 5 years. Number of accounts blown.
Number of accounts
So it'd
blown.
be prop firms.
I don't think it's around 10 to 15, but not more than that. Yeah, not more than that.
Okay. And I'm assuming that was earlier on in your,
Yeah, exactly. When I
yeah.
was still figuring things out,
Yeah.
copy trading people and all that stuff, like it was a disaster. And
Was you
then
taking high risk as well?
yeah, because
Yeah.
not everyone is born with like excellent risk management and
No.
knowing how to hone your emotions when you're trading. Everybody got greedy at one point. Everybody got, had that gambling itch at one point. So yeah, that's when I was blowing most of the accounts. Actually, ever since I had my itch, I think the only account that I blew is just one account, and that's it.
Amazing. Brilliant. Well done. Do you still fine tune your strategy or stick with the same one which made you profitable?
Right now, it got to a point where I just stick to it because, yeah, as we talked about backtesting and everything, you will get to a point where you don't need to change much or anything at all because you just need to let your edge play out, right?
Mm.
Maybe maybe if you want to extract more from your strat or your edge, you can look at it. But both Raihan and me said that keep it simple, right? You don't have to overcomplicate it. If you keep wanting to improve, 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 then it's just like an endless tunnel. There's always things to improve, right?
Yeah.
But whether you can make it applicable is another story.
Yeah. That's why there's a massive difference between back testing and forward testing because I speak to so many people, they say they back tested a strategy, an edge. It's giving them like 15, 20 hour a month. I'm like, okay, go make 15, 20 hour a month
In
for
the live
life and let's
market.
see how you
Yeah,
get on implementing it. You're not going to make that.
exactly.
That's crazy. Who makes 15, 20% a month risking 1%?
Yeah, I think yeah, at one point forward testing is more important than back testing, but you need to back test first in order for that to happen.
Um, so we've already talked about thoughts about online gurus and how to filter the noise from them. Any advice?
Don't trust anyone without a public track record, verifiable as well. Come on, guys, like it's it's not really that difficult to get away from them. Like you know you're being greedy, you know you want to the shortcut to success, but you're just in denial. You don't want to accept that it takes maybe half a year to a few years for you to get there. You're just impatient. And and all you think about is, hey, let me pay this guy money so that I can get there faster. But yeah, I'm sorry, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah, same with like account management. You see so many people come into our Telegram group, don't they? And they're always posting their account management services. That's not going to get you anywhere. If it was that easy, then
Everybody else is going to do it.
yeah. And
It's that
then
easy to make money, guys. Everybody else will do it to make money. So yeah,
exactly. Uh, I think we touched on this as well. Someone asked trading and personal life balance. So you have a good balance, I would say, work-life balance.
yeah, I think yeah, like I said, it's important to stay off the charts as well. As much as we want to be on the charts to make money, it's also very important to touch grass. Go do something else. Expand your hobbies, spend time with the people that is important to you. Um, yeah, not everything. I know trading, yeah, we're in trading to make money, but at the end of the day, money can do only so much. There's other important things rather than making money.
Yeah. Yeah, like family, loved ones, time. I
Yeah,
think time freedom is priceless, isn't it? Um, all right, on to our fun questions.
sure.
First one, choose one, 10 million investor capital or 10 million private capital and why?
Whoa.
It's a tough one. I know.
Yeah, the tough one. I mean, if we're just going on
You can't
value,
say both
yeah, if it's just going purely value, private, I mean, like my own personal capital,
because
because you got to keep
100% of it's yours.
exactly, yeah, you got
Yeah,
to keep 100%.
exactly. Yeah. Best trait a trader can have.
Best trait, discipline,
Most annoying thing about trading social media.
fake, like just bunch of phonies.
Top follows on socials and why, if you have any.
Um, no, I don't really have any because I try to stay away from social. I mean, yeah, I'm on YouTube and whatever, but um I don't really kind of follow a lot of traders on social media because I don't what they do doesn't really matter to me.
I
It's
think you're
not,
the same as me because you've developed your own edge and strategy. What other traders do
yeah,
doesn't matter, which is the
exactly.
same way. Like I don't even really go on Twitter anymore. I'm hardly active on it, and there's a lot of
Yeah,
negativity and toxicity anyway. So I
yeah,
totally understand where
just
you're
get
coming
away from
from.
it. Like it's not just focus on yourself. Like I rather focus on myself than look at other people's results.
Yeah. What really annoys you in life? Can be anything.
What really annoys me in life? When there's plans to do something and then it changes last minute.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same. I like routine and I like to plan everything. And
Yeah.
if it doesn't go, like my whole day falls apart. Um, will you ever go for a huge payout?
Currently, no. So I like to focus on small, consistent payouts. If you look at most of my payout certs, I don't publicize it, but it's very small. Like for a 100K account, it can be 1 to 2K. A 200K account can be 2 to 4K. So every time I make 1 to 2%, I wait for the payout date and I take my payout.
Yeah.
The only time I'll have more than that is when a firm introduces consistency, where I need to meet a minimum profitable days, where they're forcing me to take more trades to meet the criteria, then yes, I would. I mean, naturally, I have to do it because I need to meet all the criteria to get the payout. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you have some serious discipline, man. If I had 1.4 million and I was only trading each account individually, at least one account I would go for a massive payout. But no, I think small and consistent is the way because it keeps you off the radar of the prop firms. If you go for massive payouts, you do run that risk of getting banned, or once
Yep.
you may get paid out, but then if you fail the challenge, they might not let you buy another one. You never know. So, and then now I think the way the prop firm industry is going as well, it's going in that direction where they're saying we want consistent traders, you know, like you see a lot of them with like funding pips because they only have 100 grand account as their largest account, and there are people that have had an account for 1 year, 2 years, or they're on their 50th, 60th payout or whatever. It's crazy. So yeah, base hits, use a trade copier, and then even if you get 2, 3 grand per account, if you've got 5 accounts, that's 15 grand a month, 20 grand a month. like you said, you're getting low 5-figure months now. So, and you haven't even started trading futures yet. So that could go even higher. All right. I think that brings us to the end. That's it, man. That was a brilliant
Yes, man.
interview. Really happy to have you on. You're my first interview I've ever done. It's an honor to have you on. Really appreciate it. And I'd love to have you back one day as well, because I'm sure you're going to go on to achieve bigger and better things. And we'll see your progress on Darwinex, as well as with prop firms. And yeah, just good luck with it. Good luck with the YouTube channel. And I know we were talking about meeting in Malaysia as well. So maybe this year, or if not next year, when I come to Malaysia, we'll hang out and maybe film some vlogs or something for YouTube. It'd be really cool. But yeah, just want to say a massive thank you, man.
Okay, thanks, Ryan, for your time. Being so friendly and approachable. Uh, yeah, I mean, I would. It's a shame that we have to do this over Zoom, but you know,
Yeah.
I may go to London as well.
Yeah, if you come to London, you can see, look, I've got the podcast area.
Yeah.
This seat's got your name on it. You're more than welcome. Would love to have you in for a live podcast. And yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for everything. Thanks for being genuine. Love what you're doing for
Yeah.
people, whether it's your mentorship or whether it's your free community. Yeah, just bringing like-minded traders together. People that want to be serious, not don't they yeah that they have the right mindset to want to become real traders. So
Yeah.
again, thanks for your time. Thanks for having me on here. It's a pleasure. Yeah, I would love to
No.
meet you in person. So hopefully,
Yeah, no,
hopefully I
you're
can make
welcome.
it.
And yeah, no, you're welcome. And if anyone wants to join the free Telegram community, links in the description. Colin's in there. You can ask him questions. You can ask me questions. There's other people as well that are in there. We've got a guy called Simon who's just hit gold as well. So I think he'll be on gold officially from June. So yeah, our traders are killing it. And it's been like under 1 year. So there's a lot of good traders in there that you can ask for advice. And any questions on Darwinex, you can just ask them about it. And if you're interested in signing up for Darwinex as well, I'll put a link in the description there where you can get 20% off your monthly subscription. And you can also get percentage off permanent allocations and also annual and 3-year subscriptions if you want to sign up for the long term. So yeah, again, thank you very much. And
Thank you,
see you
Ryan.
soon.
All right, see you.
Bye.